We usually think of our brains as these calm, calculating supercomputers, just quietly processing the world. But in this explainer, we're going to look at what actually happens when that supercomputer is threatened with a sudden power outage. It triggers a high-stakes, microscopic emergency response system right inside your own body. It's a biological crisis protocol that is honestly just as dramatic as it is fascinating.
So, what actually happens when your brain panics? Think about the last time you became suddenly intensely hangry, or maybe you stood up way too fast and felt the whole room spin. Well, that urgent biological alarm ringing in your head, it isn't just a random mood swing. It's a highly orchestrated survival mechanism kicking into absolute overdrive, all because your brain is reacting to a very immediate threat to its fuel supply.
Our source material actually highlights this fantastic insight. The most amazing thing about the brain is that it has its own panic button. Okay, let's dive into this, because it's really not just a metaphor. Your brain literally operates a 24/7 internal 911 dispatch center, and it's constantly monitoring for one very specific emergency.
Section 1. The brain's panic button, the initial detection. So let's look at what actually sets this internal alarm off in the first place. The entire sequence is triggered the exact moment the brain senses a precipitous drop in plasma glucose. And precipitous really is the key word here. We aren't talking about a slow, gradual decrease over days. No, it's a sudden dive in your primary fuel supply. The brain perceives this as an absolute existential threat, and that initial moment of panic, it instantly transforms into action.
Section 2. Sending out the SOS. The command center reacts.
Now here is where the brain shifts from a sheer panic into a highly coordinated command center. Let's move throughout this build. Step 1. The brain detects that dangerous drop. Step 2. Acting as the commander, it immediately instructs the hypothalamus. And step 3, the hypothalamus rapidly fires off orders to specialized glandular factories, specifically the pancreas and the adrenal glands. It's an absolutely flawless chain of command, and it's executed in literal milliseconds.
When those glands get the order, they respond by massively ramping up the release of 3 critical chemical first responders. We're talking about epinephrine, cortisol, and glucagon. Dispatched right into the bloodstream, they carry the brain's exact urgent instructions directly to the one organ that can actually solve the crisis.
Section 3. The liver to the rescue, executing the fix. Enter the ultimate rescue team. Those 3 first responders, epinephrine, cortisol, and glucagon, travel rapidly to their main target destination, which is the liver, and the message they deliver from the panicked brain is direct and completely non-negotiable: make glucose. See, the liver only becomes aware of the crisis purely through this urgent hormonal SOS. So how does the liver actually pull this off? Well, one primary way is a process called gluconeogenesis. It sounds super complex, I know, but it basically just translates to the creation of new glucose. So the crucial point is that, acting like a massive chemical refinery, the liver takes smaller floating molecules and synthesizes them into brand new usable glucose. It is literally creating fuel from scratch just to save the brain.
But the liver is a total master of efficiency, so it actually has 2 distinct methods for fixing this shortage. It can either break down its internal savings account of stored fuel, glycogen, in a process called glycogenolysis, or it can synthesize entirely new glucose through gluconeogenesis, just like we talked about. Depending on the body's current state, the liver utilizes these powerful mechanisms to deliver the exact energy the brain is screaming for.
Section 4. Order is restored, the crisis is averted.
Thankfully, this incredibly complex operation doesn't take days or even hours. Just look at the sheer speed of your body's engineering here. At minute 0, the liver receives that hormonal signal. Within just 2 minutes, it is already ramped up glucose production. And by minute 5, plasma glucose levels are completely restored to normal, safe levels. It's a genuinely flawless emergency response.
And with plasma glucose successfully restored, the physiological crisis is officially canceled. The brain, and honestly all the other tissues desperately needing fuel to function, can finally access it freely from the bloodstream once again. The biological panic button has effectively been reset.
It really makes you pause, doesn't it? I mean, every time you feel a brief flash of hunger or a momentary wave of weakness, this massive, silent emergency protocol has already deployed and saved the day without you even realizing it. If your brain and liver can coordinate a response this perfectly in mere minutes, what other invisible miracles are happening inside you right now? Keep questioning, keep learning, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.